Poltergeist is directed by Gil Keenan and stars Sam Rockwell and is a remake of the 1982 film of the same name. Now, I haven't seen the original Poltergeist, so I think this could benefit so that I'm not expecting anything spectacular. I'm not going to give my hopes up, so I went into this with a completely and utterly open mind. The basic premise of the film is that Sam Rockwell and his family move into this house that is situated upon a cemetery that was supposedly moved. They didn't move the bodies, they just moved the tombstones. And then some creepy shit starts to happen within the house. One of the daughters gets taken to another dimension where all the evil spirits lay, and that's our story. So like I said, I have not seen the original Poltergeist, so I had nothing to compare it to, and with that being said, how did the film hold up? I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, guys. Okay, first off, I want to get my only two gripes about the film out of the way, and that was the fact that we saw a lot of the jump scares in the original trailer for this. You know the scene with the clowns in the kid's room, and the drawstring goes under his legs, and the clown launches at him? You knew that was coming, you knew some other things were coming, but I did jump in this movie, so it was effective. Second and last gripe is the fact that the kid Brennan, who is their son, is sort of mentally disturbed, just a disturbed child. And it just plays on that cliche, stereotypical disturbed child. He's the one that gets tormented because he's the weakest one, whilst the youngest daughter, who seems to be the most strong-willed, is the one that gets taken by the evil spirits. I don't know, it just seemed kind of cliche. Regardless of that, the movie was still great and it was entertaining. One thing that really stood out to me about this film is the creepy imagery. When they filmed the original Poltergeist back in 1982, technology was absolutely and utterly limited, where you could only do most of your special effects in an optics house. Now that we have the advancement of CGI, you can pull off some amazing and creepy imagery, and this film does it. Like when they go onto the other side to rescue their daughter, the whole walls and floor and ceiling is just laced with corpses, and it looks like it's all underwater and... That was really cool. Even though the CGI could have been done a little bit better, I really dug the concept. Now, from what I've read and understood, this incarnation of Poltergeist stays very similar to its original incarnation and stays true to the mythology. And the fact that this is now set in the 21st century and they're using 21st century technology to rescue their daughter back from these tormented souls. Which brings me to my next point. Drones. Why all of a sudden has the world just been consumed by drones? I don't know, one minute they weren't here, now they're here. Everyone has drones, and they use a drone in the movie to go through the portal and see what's going on. And that's when you see the creepy corpse walls and everything. I dug it. Now, two actors that really stood out for me in this film, apart from Sam Rockwell, because he just does an amazing job regardless. Like seriously, Sam Rockwell is a severely underutilized actor. I'd love to see him doing so much more because he's so versatile. But the two actors that stood out for me were Kennedy Clements and Kyle Catlett. Try saying that very fast. Kennedy Clements, Kyle Catlett. Kennedy Clements, Kyle Catlett. Kennedy Clements, Kyle Catlett. Fuck! They played two of Sam Rockwell's children in this film, and they had some really emotional and full-on lines to deliver, and they did it 110%. You know, they always say never work with children or animals. These two kids absolutely nailed it. They're intense, they're believable, so with that, props to them. Now, going back to the jump scares were kind of predictable, but still effective at the same time. You did see a lot of the jump scares in the trailer, but still, I jumped, so it was effective for me. Coming from an outsider's point of view, I really enjoyed this film, guys, even though there were some setbacks with the cliche use of stereotypes and the fact that we saw a lot of the jump scares in the trailer. It's definitely a good time at the movies. Poltergeist is one of those remakes where I think they really tried their best to stay true to the mythology, and with that, I'm going to give it 3.5 geeks out of 5. So if you guys have seen Poltergeist, please drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Do you think it was a decent remake, or you still prefer the original? Of course you do. We all prefer the originals. Oh, fuck. Again, thank you very much for your continuing support, guys, and until next time, geeks, always remember, cosplayers do it best.